Have you ever felt that someone's fate can change in the blink of an eye, or that love can appear in the most unexpected places? Get ready, because today's story will make you question everything you know about family bonds and what's possible between different species. Science might say one thing, but life always finds a way to astonish us. We're talking about something so extraordinary it stunned scientists worldwide. A dog adopting lion cubs? The reunion that moved the entire planet. It was an ordinary day in Africa. The sun beat down mercilessly on the savannah, filling the air with that distinct aroma of dry earth and sun-baked grass known only to those who live there. But on that day, the routine at a wildlife sanctuary was about to be turned upside down. Terrible news struck like unexpected lightning. 2 newborn lion cubs had been cruelly rejected by their own mother. Fragile, defenseless, and utterly abandoned, their survival was now a race against time. Can you feel the anguish in the air? Maternal instinct, something we see as nearly sacred, had inexplicably failed. Every passing minute became a desperate fight for life for these tiny creatures who had barely opened their eyes to the world. That sweet scent of newborns, which should symbolize hope, was now tinged with fear and abandonment. Nobody knew what to do, and the options were limited and painful. Who could possibly save these little lives? Believe it or not, the answer would come from the most unexpected place imaginable. The news spread through the refuge like wildfire. The lioness mother, for some unknown reason, perhaps stress, perhaps a tragic inexperience, had turned her back on her own cubs. 2 minuscule beings, newborn, with their tiny hearts beating as fast as a hummingbird's wings, lay there alone, and the silence of rejection echoed louder than any roar. It's a heartbreaking scenario, isn't it? We expect nature to be perfect, but it isn't always. And believe it or not, did you know that the rejection of cubs by animal mothers, especially in wild or semi-wild environments, can happen for various reasons, including illness, stress, or even the recognition of some weakness. In the offspring, it's a harsh but real fact. And the urgency? Oh, the urgency was palpable. The air was heavy with the tension of needing to act fast. Those little lion cubs were so tiny, they fit in the palms of a hand, and the smell of mother's milk had barely dried on their defenseless bodies. In a few hours, without warmth and without food, they wouldn't stand a chance. It was a race against time, and despair mixed with the responsibility of trying to save them. Have you ever had that feeling of needing to do something immediately, with no time to overthink? It's like when a small child gets hurt, or an elderly person needs urgent help. The instinct to protect screams louder than any logic. The sanctuary team, accustomed to challenges, was in shock. They tried everything to get the mother to accept them back, carefully bringing them closer, but it was useless. The lioness simply ignored them, and that sealed their fate if nothing was done. They needed milk, warmth, a touch that would make them feel safe. But who could offer all this to 2 lion cubs who needed 24-hour care? Not just anyone would take on such a challenging animal adoption. The issue wasn't just about feeding them, but about nurturing them, giving them the comfort the biological mother had denied. It seemed like an impossible mission. At the height of desperation, when options seemed to have run out and the scent of hope began to fade in the air, an almost crazy idea emerged. Remember that often the most brilliant solutions come from the most unexpected places, don't they? That's when someone at the refuge thought, what if we try a surrogate mother? But who? The answer, believe it or not, was on her way, wagging her tail with a determined look. Her name? Sandra, a majestic German shepherd dog, with pointy ears and fur glistening in the sun. Sandra wasn't just any dog. She had just given birth to a healthy litter of puppies, and therefore had plenty of milk. A true treasure in that critical moment. But here comes the detail that would leave anyone speechless. Sandra, well, she wasn't exactly a fan of cats. And lions, after all, are big felines. Can you imagine the scene? The team, with their hearts in their hands, brought Sandra close to the incubator where the tiny, fragile lion cubs emitted almost inaudible meows, as delicate as a whisper on the afternoon breeze. The sound of her firm paws on the dirt ground, and the curious gleam in her eyes showed she was attentive to every movement. The tension was palpable. Would it be a disaster? A violent rejection? Everyone held their breath as Sandra approached. She sniffed the air, and that strange lion scent, so foreign to a dog, must have filled her nostrils. And then it happened. Instead of growling or backing away, Sandra hesitated for an instant, as if processing the situation, and then, with surprising calm, she gently nudged one of the cubs with her snout. It seemed her maternal instinct was so powerful it overcame any prejudice. It was a true interspecies love blossoming right there, before everyone's bewildered eyes. Can you believe it? It's as if something greater, a touch of spirituality, guided Sandra in that moment. This ability to go beyond our own inclinations, to accept differences and extend a paw or a hand to those in need, is quite a lesson. And you, have you ever had to set aside a prejudice to help someone or to open yourself up to something new and surprising in your life? If you love emotional animal stories that show the power of interspecies love, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any. The question now is, how would this canine mother adapt to raising not just puppies but two tiny kings of the jungle? What would happen in the next few days? And that's how Sandra, the German Shepherd, took on the most unlikely role of her life. Mother to lions. And those cubs didn't just need milk, you see. They needed affection, warmth, basic lessons about the world. And Sandra, with a patience that would make any first-time parent feel humble, gave herself body and soul. She nursed them, cleaned every little bit of them with her rough tongue, a detail that surely tickled those little lions. But it was pure interspecies love in action, and protected them with a fierceness that only a true mother possesses. You could hear the soft sounds of her cubs, the lion ones in this case, suckling milk, a melody of life that filled the air. She carried them gently, nudged them with her snout when they tried to wander too far, and even taught them how to play in a way only a dog would know. It was like watching a canine etiquette class for future kings of the jungle. Have you ever noticed how the most different animals can develop surprising family bonds? It's fascinating how maternal instinct can be so adaptable, to the point where a female of one species accepts and raises cubs of another, often becoming more protective than the biological mother would have been. This teaches us that affection and care transcend biology. They're about genuine connection. Days turned into weeks, and the cubs, Leo and Lila, grew healthy and strong, developing under Sandra's canine tutelage. They were literally dogs in lions' skin, learning to follow Sandra everywhere, responding to her calls and seeking her warmth on cold nights, when the smell of damp earth intensified after the dew. Who would have thought that motherhood could come in so many forms and that a mother's heart could be so vast? It's quite a reflection on the capacity for overcoming challenges and the power of unconditional love. We tend to categorize everything, don't we? Dog here, lion there. But Sandra showed us that sometimes life invites us to break those boxes. She was their mother in every sense, and the bond that formed was unbreakable. But, like every story, this phase of pure innocence and exclusive affection wouldn't last forever. Time, with its relentless passage, would bring new challenges for this peculiar family. Nature, with its implacable wisdom, takes its course, and, with it, time. Leo and Lila, those tiny cubs that fit in Sandra's paws, were no longer the same. Their soft meows had given way to deep roars that made the ground tremble and the air vibrate around them. Their small, furry bodies had transformed into imposing muscular masses with the wild, unmistakable scent of adult lions. They were young kings of the savannah, ready to take their place in the world. Meanwhile, Sandra, our tireless canine mother, began to feel the weight of the years. Her steps weren't as agile anymore. Her snout had even more gray hairs, and the sparkle in her eyes, though still full of love, carried the wisdom of someone who has lived a lot. Isn't it sad to see the passage of time in someone we love? Did you know that on average a German Shepherd lives between 10 to 14 years, while lions in captivity can live over 20? This difference in lifespan makes interspecies relationships with big cats even more bittersweet. It was painful, but necessary, The time for separation had come. The decision wasn't easy, of course. The refuge team knew that for everyone's safety, and most importantly, for Leo and Lila's mental health and full development as lions, they needed their own space to interact with their own kind and to explore their wild instincts. Have you ever felt the pain of having to say goodbye to someone you love deeply, knowing it's for their own good, but feeling your heart ache? It's like watching a child grow up and venture into the world. There's pride, but also a hint of melancholy. Sandra was taken back to her human family's home, where she would live a peaceful retirement, away from the dangers and demands of the wild. The silence that followed her departure, broken only by the distant chirping of birds, seemed heavy in the air, leaving a void in the lion's enclosure. The connection between her and her children lions was unique, a true miracle of overcoming challenges, but life sometimes demands difficult choices. No one knew if Sandra and the lions would ever see each other again. This goodbye would leave an eternal mark, but their story was far from over. In fact, the most unbelievable part was yet to come. 2 long years passed, 2 years of days, nights, seasons, and a whole world of memories for Sandra, the dog who was once mother to kings, and for Leo and Lila, the lions, who now dominated their territories with the strength and beauty of their species, but who, deep down, held memories of a very peculiar affection. Doubt hung in the air. Would they remember? Would wild instinct erase the memories of the interspecies love experienced in childhood? Have you ever anxiously awaited a reunion with someone who marked your life, unsure if the connection would still be there? This uncertainty is a universal feeling, but the refuge team, moved by a flicker of hope and curiosity, decided to take a chance. They prepared Sandra for a visit. The journey to the lion's enclosure was filled with a silent tension. The sound of the vehicle's engine carrying Sandra seemed to echo louder than usual in the vast savanna, and everyone's heart beat at an accelerated pace. Sandra, despite her age, seemed restless, almost as if she sensed the proximity of something familiar. Her eyes, previously calm, now shone with contained expectation. Upon reaching the area where Leo and Lila were, the team released Sandra. She got out of the vehicle and took a few hesitant steps. There they were, Leo and Lila, immense, with their manes gently swaying in the wind, observing the dog with an intensity that would make anyone tremble. The air became heavy with anticipation, and you could feel your own pulse in your chest. The lions emitted low, guttural roars, which usually precede action. Would it be an attack? A brutal rejection, like the one they themselves suffered? Did you know that animal memory, especially of strong social bonds and emotional experiences, can be surprisingly long-lasting, spanning years and distances? It's proof that their intelligence goes far beyond what we imagine. The moment was one of pure apprehension. Sandra, our courageous dog, stopped a few meters from the lions, her eyes fixed on them. The lions also stared at her, motionless, in a silent dance of recognition and hesitation. The question that hung in the air was, would this be a definitive goodbye, an acknowledgement that things had changed? Or would there be a spark of that family bond that once united them? What would happen in the next few seconds would leave an indelible mark on the memory of all who witnessed this scene. In those seconds that felt like an eternity, the air was almost electric. Sandra, the dog who was once a mother, and the lions, Leo and Lila, who were once her cubs. No one dared to take a deep breath, and then something magical happened. The great lions, majestic predators who could have seen Sandra as easy prey or an intruder, did something that left everyone speechless with surprise. Leo, the larger of the two, lowered his massive head and, with incredible gentleness, began to rub his snout against Sandra's side. Soon after, Lila, equally imposing, lay down beside her, emitting a soft sound, almost like a deep purr that made the ground vibrate. The scene was breathtaking. The lion's eyes, previously alert, softened into pure tenderness. They rubbed against Sandra as if embracing her, and the licks on her fur were an unquestionable sign of recognition and deep affection. Who would have thought that the memory of maternal affection would be stronger than years of wildlife and predatory instinct? It's a powerful reminder that interspecies love can create unbreakable bonds. Did you know that in some cases of interspecies adoption, animals maintain a family bond throughout their lives, overcoming natural instincts based on the experiences of care and affection lived in childhood? This truly broke science concerning what we thought about relationships in the animal kingdom. Sandra, in turn, reacted with the joy of a mother reuniting with her lost children. She wagged her tail vigorously, a soft thudding sound on the earth, and licked the lion's giant faces, as if still cleaning her tiny cubs. It was a dance of love and longing, a living proof that family bonds, even the most unusual, are forged in the heart and endure the passage of time. Have you ever felt such a deep connection with someone that words can't even explain, where just a look or a touch says everything? That's the emotion that overflowed there. That moment was a lesson for everyone present. It was a reminder that the world is much more complex and full of wonders than we can imagine, and that the ability to love and be loved transcends any barrier. The affection shown by Leo and Lila for their former mother, the dog who saved them, was an unforgettable testament to overcoming challenges and the pure beauty of connection. The scene of Sandra's reunion with her children lions was not just a spectacle for the eyes. It was a punch to the gut of our conventions. After all, who would have thought that a dog could be the mother of lions, and that they, now adult and wild, would still recognize her with such affection? It's a vivid reminder that family bonds are not tied to species, to size, or to any rule we try to impose. They are formed in the soul, in care, in pure and simple presence. The silence that followed the reunion, broken only by the soft sound of the wind in the distant leaves, seemed to carry the message, "Look at us and learn." This story is a living testament to interspecies love, a concept that, for many, might seem like fiction. But Leo, Lila, and Sandra showed us that reality is much more fantastic. It's an overcoming of expectations, a breaking of paradigms. Have you ever stopped to think about how the animal kingdom, with its countless interactions, is full of examples of empathy and care that often mirror or even surpass our own human capacities for compassion? This is not just a curious fact. It's an invitation for us to look beyond appearances. How many times do we close ourselves off to the new, to the different, out of pure prejudice or fear? This chronicle invites us to open our hearts, to see love where it manifests without labels. It's a practical lesson about the importance of acceptance, of nurturing relationships that make us feel good, regardless of who or what the other is. The gentle touch of a lion's paw on a small dog's head can be more eloquent than 1,000 speeches about tolerance. The emotion this story evokes is that true love knows no boundaries. It teaches us that even after separation and the passage of time, genuine connections can persist and even strengthen. Sandra, Leo, and Lila are not just animals. They are living symbols of a universal truth. The affection and recognition built on the foundation of animal adoption and pure care remain. Their story is an invitation to look at our own lives and ask, are we open to loving and being loved in ways we haven't yet imagined? And so we come to the end of this chronicle that made us laugh, sigh, and perhaps even shed a discreet tear. Sandra's journey, the dog who became a mother to lions, is more than just a beautiful animal adoption story. It's a mirror to the human condition itself. It shows us, without words, but with the strength of interspecies love, that the deepest family bonds are not always defined by blood, but by affection, dedication, and the capacity to overcome challenges of any barrier, be it species, size, or prejudice. That emotional reunion and the pure emotion of recognition between Sandra and her children lions was not just an isolated event. It was a cry from nature, a reminder that the world is much more complex and wonderful than we imagine. Break routine and fixed ideas, because life can surprise you with connections you never dreamed of. And if a German shepherd can love and be loved by adult lions, what does that say about our own capacity to reach out, to accept differences, and to build bridges where there were once only walls? This story challenges us to look beyond the obvious, to trust the instinct of the heart, and to embrace the beauty of relationships that defy the norm. Every time the sun sets and paints the sky orange and purple, think of Sandra's courage, Leo and Lila's loyalty, and the proof that the purest affection transcends barriers and time. And you, have you ever had an animal that changed your life? That taught you an unforgettable lesson about love, loyalty, or overcoming challenges? Or perhaps a friendship that broke science with what you thought was possible? Tell us in the comments below. Your story can inspire many others. If this chronicle warmed your heart and made you believe even more in the magic of life, leave your like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our next emotional stories. And get ready, because the next video suggested by YouTube will surprise you even more. Don't miss it.